There are people in this world whose entire life is built around saving others. They wake up before dawn. They miss birthdays. They cancel dinners. They sit beside strangers in the worst moments of those strangers' lives, and they hold things together with nothing but knowledge and steady hands and sheer unbreakable will. They save lives, hundreds of them, sometimes thousands, and they do it quietly, without fanfare, without asking for anything back. But sometimes, in saving everyone else, they lose the one person they were never supposed to lose. My name is Dr. William Arthur Hayes. I am 96 years old. I practiced medicine for 50 years in a small hospital in rural Virginia. I delivered 2,200 babies into this world. I held the hands of 400 people as they left it. I stitched and mended and diagnosed and fought and occasionally won against things that had no business being defeated. And I am here today to tell you about the one fight I did not show up for, the one that mattered most. I grew up in Virginia, son of a farmer, youngest of 3 boys. My father worked that land with everything he had, calloused hands, bent back, quiet dignity. He never went beyond 8th grade, but he understood something about life that took me 90 years to fully grasp. He used to say, "William, the land does not care how smart you are. It only cares how present you are. Show up every day and it will give you everything. Disappear for a season and it will forget you completely." I thought he was talking about farming. He was not talking about farming. I left Virginia at 18 for college, then medical school, then residency, then a small hospital in the same Virginia county where I had grown up. I met my wife Eleanor in 1954. She was a nurse at the same hospital, the most composed woman I had ever seen, in any situation, emergency or ordinary. She was completely steady. I fell in love with her steadiness before anything else. We married in 1956, moved into a small house 3 miles from the hospital, close enough that I could be there in 7 minutes. When the phone rang at 2 a.m., and the phone rang at 2 a.m., more nights than it did not. I want to be honest with you about what it means to be a doctor in a rural hospital for 50 years. It means you are never fully present anywhere except that hospital. Even when you are home, you are not fully home. You're waiting for the phone. You're running through cases in your mind. You're thinking about the patient in room 4 and whether you made the right call and what the morning tests will show. Eleanor understood this. She had chosen it with her eyes open. She was a nurse. She knew the life. But understanding something and living inside it every day for 50 years are 2 very different things. We had 2 children, a son named Thomas, a daughter named Anne. Thomas used to tell people when he was very young, "My daddy saves lives. That is why he cannot come to my baseball games." He said it without bitterness, the way children say true things before they learn to protect the people they love from the truth. I told myself he was proud. I told myself he understood. I told myself I was doing something important, and my family knew that, and supported that, and everything was fine. I told myself many things over 50 years that were easier than the truth. Eleanor was diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer in 1987. She was 54 years old. I was one of the most experienced doctors in our county. I had seen breast cancer hundreds of times. I knew the treatments. I knew the statistics. I knew exactly what needed to happen and exactly how to make it happen. And I did all of it. I made every appointment. I consulted with the best specialists I knew. I reviewed every scan personally. I managed her treatment with the same precision I brought to every patient I had ever treated. Eleanor went into remission in 1989. I remember feeling not just relief, something deeper than relief, something that felt like invincibility, like I had faced the worst thing and won, like nothing could take her from me because I would simply not allow it. That was the most dangerous thing I ever felt in my life. In 2001, Eleanor started having headaches, persistent ones, the kind that did not respond to simple treatment. She mentioned them to me 3 times over the course of 4 months. The first time I told her it was probably tension. She had always carried stress in her shoulders and neck. The second time, I told her to take something for it and rest more. The third time, she did not tell me again. Not because the headache stopped, because she had learned in 45 years of marriage to a doctor that there was a certain kind of worried that I could not apply to her. I was too close and somehow, simultaneously, not close enough. She went to see a colleague of mine without telling me. A brain scan was ordered. I found out on a Tuesday afternoon when my colleague walked into my office and closed the door behind him. And I knew from the way he closed that door before he said a single word. I had closed doors that same way, hundreds of times myself. Glioblastoma, stage 4. For those who do not know that word, it is a brain tumor, the most aggressive kind, the kind that does not negotiate, the kind that does not respond to bargaining or expertise, or 50 years of medical knowledge, the kind that takes people on its own timeline, regardless of what you know, or who you are, or how many lives you have saved. I sat in my own office, in my own chair, behind my own desk, and for the first time in 50 years of medicine, I had absolutely nothing. No plan, no protocol, no steady hands, just a husband, terrified and too late. Eleanor lived for 14 months after the diagnosis, and I want to tell you what I did with those 14 months, because this is the part of the story that I need you to hear. For the first time in our entire marriage, I was present, fully, completely, without reservation. I did not go to the hospital unless it was absolutely necessary. I did not take calls I did not have to take. I did not think about cases at the dinner table. I did not wait for the phone. I was there every morning when she woke up, every evening when the light changed and the Virginia sky turned that particular gold that she had always loved. We talked, really talked, the way we had not talked in perhaps 30 years. She told me things about our marriage that she had been carrying quietly for decades. Not with anger, she was not an angry woman, but with honesty, the kind that only arrives when time becomes too short for anything less. She told me she had been lonely for long stretches of our life together. Not unloved, she never doubted for a moment that I loved her, but lonely, the way you can be lonely, right beside someone who is always somewhere else in their life. And I sat with that. I did not defend myself. I did not explain. I just sat with it and let it be true, because it was true, and she deserved to have it be true out loud between us before she was gone. Eleanor passed away on a morning in April 2003. The Virginia sky was exactly the gold she loved. I held her hand. I was present, completely present, the way I should have been for 45 years. And when it was over, I sat in the quiet of that room for a long time. And I made a promise to myself. I would spend whatever years I had left saying the true thing, not the easy thing, not the busy thing, not the I will do it later thing. The true thing. I retired from medicine 6 months after Eleanor died, not because I could not continue, but because I finally understood what my father had been trying to tell me all those years ago, standing in the red Virginia dirt. The land does not care how smart you are. It only cares how present you are. He was not talking about farming. He was talking about the people standing right in front of you. He was talking about Eleanor, Dr. William Arthur Hayes, 96 years old, rural Virginia. He still lives in the same small house 3 miles from the hospital where he worked for 50 years. He still sits on the back porch every evening when the Virginia sky turns gold. He does it for Eleanor every single evening, without fail. He watches the sky turn gold. And he is present, completely present, the way he should have been, all along. He wanted to leave you with this. I saved 2,200 lives in 50 years. I am proud of every single one, but I want you to hear me clearly. When I tell you this, no achievement, no career, no title, no amount of good you do in the world will fill the space left by a person you love, who needed your presence and received your absence instead. Show up, not just physically, truly show up. Put down whatever you're carrying. That is not the person in front of you, because the person in front of you is the whole point. They always were. I just learned it 14 months too late. If someone came to your mind while you were listening to William today, go to them, not later, now.